Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a voiceover. I already shot this video two other times and they both deleted themselves or had some type of technical difficulty, including the one that you are most likely watching. Um, so I wanted to just get straight into this reading because this is the third time I've done it. Yeah, so as soon as I look at his picture, I started off with a picture of him when he was younger. I did that because I wanted to start off with anything I saw that was him at like his regular state. I think this picture that I'm using is him at like around 27 years old. So as soon as I looked at him, I was automatically seeing that he had this kind of like player mentality, like he was kind of a player almost. And he was definitely playing the field at 26, 27, I don't know, maybe even 29. I'm not sure how old he is in this picture. But I am seeing that he was definitely kind of a player, playing the field, had a few different girlfriends. He might have dated around. He might have even been a little, I don't want to say malicious, but reckless with women. I feel like he definitely went through a stage where he was just trying to see how far he could get, like almost like an opportunist would do. So I am seeing that he definitely went through a phase that he was kind of like an opportunist. Also, I was already picking up before I did this reading on him that he is a starseed. So he's about 45 years old now. If you guys don't know who Simon Rex is, he was on a show called What I Like About You. He was a model. I think he might have been a porn star. I'm not sure. Um, he basically did it all. He's some type of entertainer. And he was also a rapper. I would say he was in a band. I'm not sure if you would call it a band, a rap group, whatever it's called. He used to go by the name Dirt Nasty. Um, so yeah, he's definitely done a lot in Hollywood, which is interesting because I don't feel like he is really a fame guy. Like he's not the Hollywood kind of guy. Like when I tune into him now at age 45 years old or age 46, um, I'm mostly seeing that he is more domesticated and like settled down. He may not have a wife. I don't think he has a wife. I don't think he has any kids. I don't think he has a wife. Um, but yeah, I feel like when he first started with the fame and, maybe in his mid 20s or like 30s, I feel like it was everything, he was excited, he was, exercising his charm on women or his charisma or whatever you want to call it. And that made him happy, and it didn't last long. I'm seeing that he eventually got tired of superficial things. He quickly like grew out of that immature mindset. Not to say that he was immature in a way that was childish or whatever else, but it just seems like he might have been a little more materialistic, more superficial. It was more so about like girls and like I don't know. It just seems like things he was a little bit more superficial back then. But also we're gonna get into what led him here today because I'm seeing today that he does have contact with ETs. He may be consciously aware of that. He may not be. So what I mean by that is sometimes like even me as a medium, before I start channeling for people like clients, sometimes or even in general, it doesn't have to be clients, it could be just people that are around me, people that know me, talk to me. Um, like I'll do something and it would be the exact same way somebody that they knew who passed away would do it. And they would be like, "Oh my God, the person that I was gonna ask you about, they used to do that all the time." And it's just something very unconscious, and I'm not like fully present when I'm doing it. It's just, it just goes through me like almost. So I feel like that may be the case for Simon Rex. He definitely has some other planetary like guides. Like I feel like I'm seeing all his guides are ETs. They're all from a different star system. So there's definitely like other planetary connections there. I see this in Keanu Reeves, in Thom Yorke. I did a reading on River Phoenix before. Yes, all of those people are starseeds, and they kind of have the same energy. So when I talk about superficial needs and how he feels about that, I'm mostly seeing that he may have worshipped that like when he was younger and been all into it. And I mean, of course, when you're younger, that's what you're into, but I feel like there was like deep down, like he was very drained by it. There's something about him being very drained mentally and emotionally by it. So when I talk about people that are from different star systems, star seeds, there's obviously different dimensions of that. There's Pleiades, Sirian, Arcturian, and when you go into the lower dimension, it's reptilian. And we're not going to get into that. Maybe this is why that video deleted itself. Maybe this is why. for the last 2 times that I tried to film this. You guys know there's certain things I can't talk about on here. But anyway, like I was saying, love is very different in those star systems. So, for example, like, this is going to sound dumb, but crystals, they've become a very big thing now, like within 2007 to 2000, like where we are now. They've definitely like increased in popularity. Whereas beforehand, people would use them just as like science things, and they're cool and they're gemstones, and basically they don't have much monetary value other than them being rocks, just like a regular rock. Whereas in ancient civilizations, like such as Atlantis, where I am seeing he does have a past life in Atlantis, we'll get into that. We used to use them for electricity. We used to use them to power things. It's the same thing with frequencies. We used to use frequencies for different reasoning, just quantum physics. It's not like that here. So things like that, and I'm comparing crystals to love here because love in a different star system or in these advanced civilizations had more meaning than just a monogamous relationship or just, it had more of a meaning and it had more of a value, so to say. I'm not sure if value is the right word, but there was just more with it than it is in our dimension, in the 3D world. Whereas now, what we're really powered by is ego. We're really powered by ego here. So this is something that's very hard for starseeds or star beings or empaths, elementals. It's something that's hard for people that are on 5D, 4D, whatever, to really coexist with. It's hard to accept. It's hard to be satisfied with, basically. So for him being a starseed, I feel like this is where a lot of his drug abuse comes from, because I am seeing there's a lot of drug abuse, and I'm seeing most of this happen within his 30s. Like within his 20s, there might have been some stuff, but I feel like it's got really manifested in a negative way when he was about 30 years old, so 30, like maybe later than 30, and it wasn't in the sense that he was doing it to party or like doing it to be reckless per se, especially at that time, like at around 30 years old. This is more so the time where his issues started coming up, and he was kind of aware that he couldn't keep like dating girls. For some reason, there's something about superficial like glamour, like he was kind of over it at that point. It wasn't fulfilling him on a soul level. I feel like this is when his like awakening happened. He might have gotten into like the New Age movement, yoga or something like that. Primarily, I'm seeing this is because he started having contact with ETs. I feel like at first he definitely didn't know what was going on. He thought this was all himself, but his guides were pushing him towards doing this like spiritual work, this soul work, so he could, be full and be content. I feel like he's kind of a loner, though. Like, honestly, I feel like he may be an ambivert, like an introvert, extrovert, but I feel like he definitely does, like, need his alone time. He's not the type of person that would need somebody to, like, always be around him. I feel like he really takes pride in his like alone time and his time with himself and stuff. So with that being said, I did see that he had a past life in Atlantis. So this past life that I'm seeing, he was a god, but there's something about his charm. There's something about him being very charming, having like some type of gift of gab or something, that he would have acquired during Atlantis. This was one of his main gifts. He could attract a lot of followers this way. I see that in his past life in Atlantis, him being kind of a leader, but in a very secretive way. It's hard to explain. People were just very attracted to him, and he had a lot of influence over people, especially women. This is coming up as very feminine. I feel like he definitely has a gift with women, and more so than in like a sexual or like an attraction way. I feel like in an understanding way. Like I feel like he's very like in touch with his divine feminine as well. He definitely is intuitive. I feel like he could read people fairly quickly. Yeah, he definitely has a lot of intuition. I am seeing that he does have the gift of telepathy. So, also probably another reason why this video has cut off so many times. When I say telepathy, I mean that he could, if somebody was talking about him or like thinking about him, I feel like he would kind of know it. Like, for instance, I'm doing a reading on him. He might have some type of inkling that I might be doing a reading on him. It's a psychic gift. It's a gift that a lot of starseeds do have, but it takes time to come into. I feel like he wasn't that aware of it when he was 20 years old, 25 years old. I feel like he's more aware of it now. So he definitely does have that gift. And another reason why it's hard for him to be in large crowds and like the fame, it wouldn't work out for him the same way it did when he was younger. I don't feel like fame is that attractive to him. I feel like he likes to like be around people that are like him, but he doesn't want like fame on like a world class type of in like a world class type of manner. It's more about he'd like to rather connect with people that are like him rather than large masses of people. Yeah, he's very into like just finding the right people for him and surrounding himself with those people. There's a lot that he doesn't show us. There's a lot of shadows here. He has a lot of spiritual protection as well. There's something about secrets, private life. I feel like he's still dealing with inner turmoil through his drug addiction. I'm not sure if he's ever came out with drug addiction. He might have not ever come out with being a drug addict, and or a substance abuse addict or a sex addict. I don't know. I don't think he's a sex addict, but I am seeing that yes, like I would probably hint that he has had some major issues with drugs. Has this come out in the media? I don't know. It might have. Most celebrities will have this type of issue, but like I said, I feel like he's going through the healing process of accepting that he was, what people would consider a drug addict. I don't feel like he's a drug addict anymore. Or if he does do drugs, they might be like more holistic, like earth-based drugs, rather than like coke or like PCP. I don't feel like he does any of these artificial drugs anymore, but I have a feeling he had a hard time forgiving himself for doing these drugs. There's something about self-sabotage and not forgiving. I feel like he's definitely coming into a state where he's forgiving himself for all those things that he did. He might have done some reckless things while he was on drugs. He's trying to move past that, but the main issue here is like a self-betrayal to where he was on drugs. And it's like what I said in another one of my videos. There's a black bank blanket and he's just throwing blankets, or he's not doing that anymore. he was just throwing blankets on top of this one black blanket, trying to make sure that it would counteract it. And that's what drugs are. They're a way to get away from one issue and then substitute it with another issue. So I see that he's definitely going through his layers, his onion layers, and definitely forgiving himself. It's a long process, but I feel like this is another reason that his guides kind of wanted him to self-isolate. I mean, we're all isolated now, but he's definitely in isolation with himself. I feel like he may have some friends and he sets aside time for that, but I feel like this is a journey that he's going on by himself. And his guides are pushing him to stay in this. He might not necessarily enjoy it. He might not. I feel like he does for the most part, but there are times, I'm sure, where he is like, he looks back and may necessarily not be happy with where he is and what he's doing. I feel like that's definitely a very real possibility. But I do feel like he's healing. He's definitely healing towards all the stuff in the past, and that's the state that he's at now. I don't feel like he's still a player or manipulative. I feel like he's more so looking for soulful connections, and just really healing his soul right now. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye.